Tell me where you from, drop your city in the chat, drop your city in the chat. Tell me where you from, drop your city in the chat, drop your city in the chat. If you say what's up, I'ma hit you right back, I'ma hit you right back. But if you act up, I'ma bang from the chat, so don't play with me. Mr. Lecton, got a super lit show. If you like this intro, share this video and subscribe to the show. That's the only way to grow. Hit the like button, hit the like button, hit the like button, hit the like button, hit the like button. If you like the discussion, drop a super chat if you wanna say something. I remember when I started, I ain't getting no views. Now millions come to me just to get my views. The chat be on fire, I done lit the fuse. But my channel wouldn't be nothing without you. Tell me where you from, drop your city in the chat, drop your city in the chat. Tell me where you from, drop your city in the chat, drop your city in the chat. If you say what's up, I'ma hit you right back, I'ma hit you right back.
Yo, drop your city in the chat. Listen to the video. Drop your city in the chat. Let me know where you at. Let's go.
But if you act up, I'ma bang from the chat, so don't play with me. Hit the like button, hit the like button, hit the like button, hit the like button, hit the like button. If you like the discussion, drop a super chat if you wanna say something.
All right, y'all. We are about to have a debate, if you will. I don't debate, so the word debate is a little strange to me, but we're going to have a debate, and the actual topic that we're debating on is who in particular is more, shall we say, in charge, or who is threatening masculinity the most? Is it black women or is it black men? Because I've had these conversations so many different times, and now it's going to be a debate with somebody else. So I'm gonna bring up my guest. Everybody hit the like button. Everybody hit the like button. Everybody hit the like button and drop your city in the chat and let me know where you at. We got Philly in the building. I am from Philly, so shout out to you. All right, so here we go. What's going on, brother?
What's up?
All right, so introduce yourself.
Dr. William Dion James, author of Black Supremacy, author of The Individual Think First.
All right, so we're just going to start with the video that I actually seen you on, and we'll go from there. But before we do that, is there anything you want to say before I play the video?
My message is for the Black community, and I want to convey a message that helps uplift us, help us improve, and help us move the needle.
All right, cool. All right, so this is the video that sparked this conversation, and it usually is why things always spark. I say something about somebody and the person gets mad, and they have the right to get mad. And this is the reason why we're here, because if I say some shit about a person, it's important for us to have a conversation about what I said. And that's how manhood works. So here we go.
Tell man, you have to consider when you about to live with that particular female, just understand the potential. You want to shoot the club up. Once you let it go, it's over. Like a lot of people complain and say, look, why don't I have a say on? If she ain't taking from me, bro, you had to say. It was a couple things you had to do. First off, you had to press her, because she ain't coming to you, likely. You had to decide not to strap up. You had to decide to shoot the club up. You made a lot of conscious decisions. You gave your seat away. And then now you like, oh, ain't no backseats, bro. Once you let it go, it's hers at that point.
If men don't have a say in a woman having a baby or not, then child support should be optional.
They call that the financial abortion.
Yeah.
I'm not against that.
I think we should make DNA tests in hospitals automatic, mandatory.
I believe that for sure.
Because then women would think twice about who they have a child with if they know that they're not going to be financially supported automatically by the government just for having that baby.
So right here, let me back that up right here. Let me back it up just a second, and then we're going to play the whole thing up.
Or it should be optional.
They call that the financial abortion.
So that's the first thing.
Don't have a say in a woman having a baby or not, then child support should be optional.
So let's break this down piece by piece. You said you think child support should be optional because of what exactly?
No, I don't think child support should be optional, which is what I was trying to tell you before. So I'm against abortion in any form. I'm against physical abortion by women. I believe that's been part of the destruction of the Black community. I'm also against financial abortion by Black men. However, what I said was, if men have no say in a physical abortion, in that instance, then child support should be optional. If you're going to tell a Black man, don't tell me what to do with my body when I planted that seed in you, then don't ask me for anything. That's what I'm discussing.
But you planted that seed in her.
Right. And he still has a say, though.
Your say was planting a seed in her. That
right.
was your say.
So, but I'm saying, if a Black man
tell everybody to jump off a cliff and everybody jumped off a cliff, they don't jump off a cliff. My say was jumping off a cliff. Now everybody dead. Now I got to answer to their parents and shit. Or why you telling them to jump off the cliff? Yeah, I started this whole scenario. That was the say.
Yeah, but if I tell you to keep it, then keep it.
That's not, sir. What Black men don't understand. What men don't understand is your say is by your actions. Okay, masculinity is about actions. Women say, women talk. We operate, we act, we move, we lead by example. So when you set an example by doing something, you just started the train rolling. Now you want the train to stop? That's not how it works.
That if I'm the leader, then you follow the leader. You listen to what I'm saying.
Okay, let's go with that. Are you married to this woman in this scenario?
Biblically married or legally married?
Are you okay? Either way. In this just in the situation that we're talking about, in context, a man getting a woman pregnant, he ain't married a goddamn woman.
Okay.
Can we be okay with that? Good premise?
Yeah, sure. The scenario is they're not married.
There we go. Okay. So you are not her leader.
What? Excuse me?
I said what I said.
I'm not her leader. So go more in depth. Have we been dating? How long? Was this a one-night stand and she got pregnant? What's the scenario? What's the full scenario?
The average situation is whether they either dating or they in a relationship. Either way, they're not living together. Let's just make a scenario of 3 months. They've been dating for 3 months, whether they go together, quote unquote, or whatever. Because this is how shit be happening. The nigga gets the damn woman pregnant and he mad and he's like, yo, you gonna get rid of it? And she's like, no. Oh, you gonna put me on child support, and start acting like a bitch. So the thing about it is, you are not her leader if you have not married her, or if she is not living under your roof. If I move a woman in my house, I am her leader. But if I'm just fucking her, I am not her leader. I'm just a dude that's fucking her. And it might be another dude that's fucking her. So what are you talking about? I'm her leader. What is this leader shit? And you ain't earned nothing to be a leader. Go.
You're further proving my point. If I'm just having sexual intercourse with her and she's having sexual intercourse with other men, that leads to the other thing that I said in the video, where DNA.
I didn't say she is. I just said she could be.
All right. So
nobody knows.
If she could be in this scenario, that's why I said DNA test should be mandatory at the hospital. Also, if she's going to claim that, because now you're speaking about a totally, it's a messy situation. And this is why I don't.
Every pregnancy is a messy situation, sir.
Every pregnancy is a mess. Did you say every pregnancy is a messy situation?
Were your parents married?
Yes.
Okay, my parents were not, and most of our parents were not married.
You just said that every time. Did you just say that every pregnancy is a messy situation?
Hold on. Okay, hold on. What? Say it again.
You just said every pregnancy situation is a messy situation.
Okay.
That's what you just said.
Okay. most Black pregnancies are messy situations. Does that make you feel better?
What do you mean by messy? Out of wedlock? Say
You
out of
just
wedlock.
you said messy. Out of
No,
wedlock
you
is
said
messy.
messy. You said
Out of-
messy.
Out of wedlock is messy.
That's subjective. You can be
Out
not.
of
You can have.
wedlock is messy.
You can be. You can. I don't believe it's correct, but
If
messy.
the two people did not get married,
What do you mean by
if two
messy?
people did not get married and the woman gets pregnant, is most likely a messy situation.
No, because you're talking about legally married. You can be.
I
biblically
said
married.
if a person is not married, either way, it's a messy situation.
No, I don't know what messy is, and I don't condone out of wedlock birth, but you can have a planned pregnancy. You can have a successful pregnancy with it being out of wedlock. So I don't know what you mean by messy. You would need to provide clarity on what you mean by messy.
Okay, the whole point about it is because there's a circular response that you have that we have to keep an eye on. So
No, you don't.
where this came from, because you like to just circle all over the place.
No, I don't.
What my point is you said you are her leader. You are not her leader unless you are her husband or she is living in your house. That is my point. And most of these situations are neither.
So here's my point. A woman shouldn't let a guy enter her body who she doesn't view as her leader.
Okay, stop right there. I agree, but that is
Okay,
not
then.
your that is not your business. See, we're
What's not my
talking
business?
about
What's not my business?
what you just said. That ain't got nothing to do with you. So
What?
here's the thing. Masculinity is about focusing on what we are doing and not
Who's
what they
we?
are doing. Men, what do you mean we? What?
We is the Black community. That's what I'm trying to say.
So your job as a man is to focus on what you're doing. So going back to the video, because I want to play the video. Going back to the video.
No, my job as a man is to focus on the Black community as a Black man.
Okay, going back to the video, we're talking about a man and a woman, and they get pregnant. And you said, let me just go back to that, and we'll just go from there.
Mm-hmm.
And back it up.
Didn't come to you likely. You had to decide not to strap up. You had to decide to shoot the club up. You
See, Trev is right. You had to decide to do all this. You did all this.
made a lot of conscious decisions. You gave your seat away. And then now you like, oh, ain't no backseats, bro. Once you let it go, it's hers at that point.
If men don't have a say in a woman having a baby or not, then child support should be optional.
That right there. If men don't have a say, and that is the point.
I
That
don't-
is how we got here. Go ahead.
I don't disagree with what Trev said either. You chose to sleep with her. You chose to strap up or not strap up. I agree, because men shouldn't be entering any old kind of woman either. I agree with that point. Let me go back to my full premise, my full statement. I am against abortion of any kind. Physical abortion, I'm against Black women doing that. That has been a part of our destruction. I'm against a man doing financial abortion and not taking care of his seed. However, if a man has no say in his child, then the
What
child
is the
support
say?
should be, huh?
Can you explain the say? You said no say. Can you explain
Because
the say?
The say is when Black women or women in general say, "Oh, my body, my choice." No, it's my seed. It's our choice. It's
You
our.
just said
it's
you don't
our
believe in
child.
abortion, sir.
Huh?
You just said you don't believe in abortion. What the hell you want the
That's-
woman to do? Throw it out the window?
No. I want her
What do
to understand that men have a say. If a man tells you
A
to
say
keep it,
as what?
to
Can you
what-
explain
to keep
say?
my child.
I'll
If
ask
I want a child, if I want my
Sir,
child, and I tell the
sir,
woman,
sir,
to
sir,
keep
sir.
it,
I'll
and
ask
she
you for the
wants to get an
third time.
abortion, she
I'm
can
going to
even
ask you
have an
for the third
abortion.
time. I'm just going to ask you for the third time. What can you explain? Say, if you don't believe in abortion, your words, can you explain what your say in this scenario is?
I'm explaining it. If I tell a woman I got you pregnant. You come to me and tell me you're pregnant.
Mhm.
And you say, and the female says, okay, I want to get rid of it. And I say, no, keep it. I have no say. She can go get rid of it against my wishes. So if that's the case, then financial abortion should be optional as well. Because if I want you to keep it, you can say, I'm not keeping it. That's the point. That's what I'm saying.
The stupidest shit I ever heard in my life.
Because how is it stupid? Explain how it's stupid.
Listen to this stupid shit that you just said.
Yeah, explain how it's stupid.
You literally just said, if I tell her to get rid of it, which you don't believe.
No,
can I
I just said
finish? Can I finish, sir?
You said it wrong.
Can I finish?
Go ahead. I'm just letting you know you said it wrong.
You don't believe in abortion. And you literally just said, if I tell her to get rid of it, something that you don't believe in doing, and she gets rid of it, you shouldn't have to take care of it if she keeps it. What kind of stupid shit is that, sir?
That's not what I said. You're not listening. I said I tell her to keep it. I didn't say if I tell her to get rid of it. I said if I tell her to keep it, play it back. I said if I tell her to keep it and she says I'm going to go get rid of it.
It's the same shit.
No, it's not.
What difference does it make whether, sir, if you put a baby in a woman and a baby comes out of the woman, it is your fucking responsibility.
Correct.
So what is the problem?
If I put a baby in a woman and I tell her to keep it, she should keep it. But what they're saying is we have no say. My body, my choice.
You said they're saying. Who's they?
Women. The big promotion by women who are pro-choice. They say my body, my choice. Men have no say.
Do you? Okay.
That's the phrase.
Okay.
I'm saying men should have a say. It's our seed.
Okay.
And I'm saying if I tell you to keep it, not get rid of it. If I tell you to keep it, you keep it. If I can't tell you to keep it, and if you want to go get rid of it, you can go get rid of it, then financial abortion should be optional then. That's what I'm saying.
Like I said, this is the stupidest shit I ever heard in my goddamn life because
you still can't explain it.
So, because at the end of the day, one thing doesn't have to do with the other, and we're gonna broaden this conversation. I just goddamn explained it because it's just don't.
No,
I don't even want to have a
one thing
conversation
doesn't have
about
to do with the other, and didn't explain it.
Because it doesn't. If she has a baby and the baby comes out, you're responsible for it. None of that other shit matters. Oh well, if I told her to do this, that don't matter. The baby came out. How the hell are you talking about? If you're a person that don't believe in abortion, you believe in community, you believe in black people being together, you believe in marriage, whether legal or through the church, and you turn around and say a man should be able to walk away from his goddamn child because she chose to keep it.
That's not what I said.
Again, you're not listening.
You're not listening. You're not listening. I'm gonna say it again. If I tell her to keep it, I'm not talking about.
She has the baby. Now what?
What?
She has the baby. Stop trying to do this circle jerk bullshit.
It's not circle jerk. It's so that you understand my actual argument. You're doing a red herring. You're trying to argue something I'm not making. I'm talking about where they have it set up. I'm talking about the legalities of it.
Who has it set up?
The government, the system.
The government is who? The government is who? The government is who? Who is the government?
United States of America.
Is it men or is it women mainly?
What do you mean?
Is the government mainly men or mainly women?
Men.
Okay, so if men said, go ahead, I just want to make sure that we throw that in there as a pin. If men told, go ahead. Government is men, but go ahead.
White men.
Men.
White men.
Men.
White men. So again.
Okay, there's two sexes. There's two genders, men and women, sure.
Yeah.
There's not a white man gender. That's the same gender as black men, sir.
No, white men and black men aren't the same.
We're the same gender.
We're not the same race.
Sir, can you keep going?
White men have an agenda to destroy the black community.
Men said something. Go ahead.
White men said that it's woman's body is their choice in the 1970s. with
didn't say
Roe
that.
v. Wade. That came into play in 1973 after Jane
Did
Roe.
they just revoke Roe v. Wade?
What?
Did they just
Not in
revoke?
every state, no.
Okay.
So in 1973, they said
Why are we
that
talking about
they
1973?
destroyed, because that's when Roe v. Wade came into play. And since then, we've had over 20 million black abortions in the black community.
And
I am against it. They said it's their body, their choice. They gave them that right.
Can you say ABO instead of abortions? We can
ABO.
say it. Yeah. Okay,
all right, ABO or deletion, whatever. White men gave us that as a part of destroying the black community with Margaret Sanger, who put Planned Parenthoods in every black community so that they can get ABOs and contribute to us deleting ourselves, because she was a racist and said that black people were like crops that need to be weeds that needed to be cropped out. So they put that saying there, is their body, their choice, to help us get rid of ourselves. And I am against that. I'm saying if I tell you to keep my child, I should be able to tell you to keep my child. And I can't tell you to keep it. They've put it in place systemically where even if the black man is yelling at you to keep my child, you can go to any Planned Parenthood where it's legal and you can get rid of my child. I'm saying if I have no say to tell you to keep my child, then that same government should make DNA tests mandatory, and then they should also make the financial portion a choice for the man. That's what I'm saying.
Okay. We just went in a whole circle for, I don't know how got them long. So let me try to bring it back in. None of that shit matters. So I'm going to specifically go on this one thing. Why do you think the government should do all this stuff? Why can't you just live in reality instead of worrying about what somebody should be doing? The sky should be purple, but it's not purple. So what do we do about it not being purple? Like, why are you worrying about what should happen instead of the reality? Do you live in reality, sir?
What? Yeah,
you live in reality.
Yes.
Okay, why are you worrying about what should happen instead of what's actually happening?
Because things should happen to help improve the black community. What are you talking about? That's why.
That's a problem.
What's the problem?
Should doesn't exist.
Should does exist.
No, it doesn't.
Should and should not exist. There's certain things we should and should not do.
Okay.
What are you talking about?
That is a rule. You're using a rule as an action. That is different. What you're telling what somebody should be doing is not going to make anything happen unless you are the leader of something, unless you're the president, unless you're God. So those are the only people that can say what somebody should or shouldn't do, because they will enforce that as a rule. The rest of us saying what should and shouldn't do, we don't have no fucking say so. So saying what should and shouldn't do or shouldn't be don't have no bearing on nothing, because we are not the rule makers.
That's
so
wrong.
The point is God or the Bible saying thou shalt not kill. That is God saying that. The government that says you should wear your seatbelt or you'll get a ticket, that is the government. Those are rules. When you say what somebody should be doing, that is your opinion. And that is the problem with this conversation as far as masculinity versus femininity. Women run around worrying about what should happen. Men operate in reality. The only people who need to be saying what should be happening is a rule maker. If you're not a rule maker, you don't need to be talking about what should happen. What is the goddamn reality? Because you can't change what is happening unless you're a rule maker. So sitting around, it should happen, that don't make no damn sense.
That's not true, because we have to take charge of the narratives that are pushed into our neighborhoods. We have to take control of what's taking place in our neighborhoods. We need to say, oh, those men should get off the corner. Those men should stop. Those young boys should stop joining gangs. Those young women and men should stop being promiscuous. We need to get rid of drugs, violence. We should do this. And we have to come up with plans to make that happen. It starts with the thought and then the action. So that's what
And
should.
what's after the action? The rule, the law, correct?
What the stuff I'm saying
Correct.
doesn't need to be a law.
No. The action, what you're saying, it has to be a rule. So for example, what you just said is some bullshit, but I'm going to help you. Sitting in your house, talking about what people should be doing outside is not changing nothing being in your house. But if you went outside and got a bunch of men together and went to young boys and say, hey, stop wearing your pants like this, and this is the reason why. And everybody in the community stop wearing their pants like that. You just enacted a rule or a law for your community. Therefore, they will start governing themselves. So when another young boy from another community comes over, wear their pants off their asses, they're gonna be like, hey, we don't do that over here. That is a rule. So sitting in your goddamn house on social media talking about what should happen is stupid. And that is my point. So let's keep going because
I'm talking about getting out and putting things into action. I'm not talking about
get out and put things into action, sir.
Who?
Get out and put things in action.
I put things into action. I'm an educator. And I teach martial arts to the black community. I'm a 3rd-degree black belt. I teach martial arts to black youth so that they know how to defend themselves. And I educate black youth on black history every day, over 300 every day. I tell them these things every day.
So why are you on social media talking shit about what women are doing with their pussy?
Who's talking shit?
I'll just you know what? Let's just play the whole video and then we'll go from there.
The message
I
has
always
to be spread,
tell man, you have to consider when you about to live with that particular female, just understand the potential. You want to shoot the club up. Once you let it go, is over. Like a lot of people complain and say, look, why don't I have a say on? If she ain't taking from me, bro, you had a say. It was a couple things.
See that? You had a say. Shout out to Trev.
You had to do. First off, you had to press her because she ain't coming to you likely. You had to decide not to strap up. You had to
go through all this shit in order to get her panties off.
Decide to shoot the club up. You made a lot of conscious decisions. You gave your seat away. And then now you like, oh.
You gave your seat away. Facts.
Oh, ain't no backseats, bro. Once you let it go.
Ain't no backseats, bro. That's what you niggas don't understand. It's over.
It's hers at that point.
If men don't have a say in a woman having a baby or not, then child support should be optional.
They call
that's some stupid ass shit right there, but let's keep watching.
That the financial abortion.
Yeah.
I'm not against that.
I think we should make DNA tests in hospitals automatic, mandatory.
I believe that.
I agree with that.
That for sure.
Because then women would think twice about who they have a child with if they know that they're not going to be financially supported automatically.
I agree with that.
By the government.
I agree.
Just for having that baby.
Would this now make women more responsible who they lie with, or do you think that this is just going to set up more appointments for the clinic?
So I agree with the mandatory DNA, but what I called stupid is what I'm calling stupid now.
What are you calling stupid?
Hold on. I want to say this. And if I said something that offended you as a person, I apologize. But what you did say was stupid. So your words were stupid. You as a person aren't stupid because I don't know you. Does that make sense?
Right. But what's the stupid part?
We're not going to keep going.
All right. So let me explain what I said again.
Because we got a lot more to talk about. I want to play another video to see what you thought about this.
Yeah, because like the whole point of this is you called
because it's about masculinity and not abortions. Go ahead.
Right. The whole point how we got here, you called me a loser dude from that clip, and you don't know me. And we know a lot of the same people. Well, some of the same people. We both know Sarah. We both know Trust Move. We both know Rico. We know some of the same people. You don't know me quite as much, but we know some of the same people. And I'm not a loser dude. And to speak like that on another black man without knowing him is kind of crazy. So that's we need to be having dialogue and exchanges like we're having now before we call another black man a loser dude. Especially
we wouldn't be having this dialogue if I wouldn't have called you a loser dude. So to a
that's not true.
Degree, no.
True.
no. If I wouldn't have commented, this conversation wouldn't have happened. So
that's not true.
Understand this. I did apologize. That is the first thing. So I did my job. All right. And if I didn't call you a loser, we wouldn't be here.
That's not true. We would be here. All you had to do, Trev, the person I'm speaking to the video.
I didn't want to talk to you until Trev was like, yo, he's cool.
Yeah, but
hold on, look at this. I'm thinking about this. My perception of you was what? A loser. So I didn't want to talk to you. Trev hit me up and was like, yo, he's cool as fuck. So I was like, oh, okay. Okay, cool. Then you came back and said, hey, I want to have a debate. And I said, cool, put us in a group chat. Let's do it. Because when he spoke for you, I was like, that's what's up. So the thing about it is, and this is kind of like how the community works, just like you said, we know some of the same people. When I don't know somebody, I have the right to have my own perception of the person. See, what I tend to do, whether it's wrong or right, is I put a lot of you dudes, whether y'all are in there or not, in the same bucket as the red pill cornballs. So when somebody starts spewing out some red pill type bullshit, I'm like, here we go again, another red pill cornball. You may not be, but your job and my job is to seek understanding. And that is literally one of my principles. Learn to seek understanding. That is what I'm doing now. That is what we were doing in a DM. We had a whole conversation in the DM, and Trev was like, whoa, hold on, save it for the show. And I was like, no, because I want to get an understanding of who he is before we start collaborating, because you might be a loser. But no, because of what we talked about, I'm like, you know what? This dude is cool. He does have an understanding of things, and he just be saying dumb shit every now and then. But I say dumb shit every now and then.
So,
fair?
You're wrong to say that if you didn't comment, loser dude, we wouldn't be speaking. My whole thing is, as black men, if anyone reaches out to me, or if you would have reached out to Trev, like, yo, who's this? Before you commented and said loser dude, yo, who's that dude you're speaking with? Is he okay? I don't agree with him. We can disagree in a respectful manner and then engage in dialogue. You could have took the step to find out about me if a conversation was possible prior to commenting something negative about another black man on a public forum where your comment can be seen by, thousands of people. Before making that comment, you could have reached out to Trev, or you could have just had a comment that disagreed, but without saying loser dude. I'm not one of those red pill dudes or whatever type of pill dudes. I'm for the black community. If a man makes a baby, he should take care of the baby. I want to make that clear. If a man makes the baby, right, he should take care of it. If a woman is impregnated, she should have that baby. We need to be, what I'm saying is, we need to stop having sex with just anybody. We need to get more relationships. We need the black nuclear family. We need people to think more intelligently, have more emotional intelligence, actually have structure in our communities. And when people come together, they have sex because they actually know the person, care about the person, and they wouldn't mind having a child together. That's my whole argument. That's what I'm saying. Do you disagree with me?
I do not disagree with what you just said.
And that's the whole. You didn't watch the whole clip. That's what I was saying in the whole video.
Okay. Instead of getting all frustrated and dropping your head, I literally played the video and stopped and said, I agree with that. And then I stopped again. I agree with that. And I stopped again. I agree with that. Then I stopped at the fourth time. I agree with that. Did I or did I not?
You did, but you didn't play the whole video.
I just played the whole 2 hours. I just played that clip and I said I agree with 4 different points. I just thought one of your points was dumb. So my point is, stop pouting and understand that I'm acknowledging that I agree with you, except for one point.
What point?
And you cleared that up. So can we move on?
Yeah, I cleared that up. So you didn't disagree with me to begin with. Because once you understand my whole
Can we
argument,
move
you don't disagree.
on? It's not an argument. Can we move on?
Move on, Aaron.
Thank you. That's all I'm saying. All right, because there's more shit, sir. All right, shout out to WW. Most, not all men, but men under 50 have not had enough experience in life to be controlling the narrative. You don't necessarily have the resources yet till over 50. Let me break this down because I want to try to get an understanding of it. Most, not all men. I hate when anybody says most, not all. Like it's dumb, but I'm not going to take that away from you saying this. But you said, but men under 50 have not had enough experience in life to be controlling the narrative. Can you explain what the narrative is, WW? Because I'm trying to get an understanding of what the narrative is, because that can be a lot of different scenarios. We could be talking about masculinity, or we could be talking about having babies, or money, or the white man, you know what I'm saying, the systematic oppression. So I don't know what the narrative is. And then you said you don't necessarily have resources till you're over 50. Then that's a little confusing. Are you saying don't have a baby until you're over 50 because you don't have the resources? That is wrong also. So I don't really understand your comment, but thank you for the $20 super chat. I appreciate you, but I would like to get more clarity, WW, from what you're saying, and I'll look for your next response. So I want to play this. Let's see. My issue with all of this, I think men do complain too much, whether it's a solution or not. It is not masculine for men to be running around complaining. So the way I just look at life is really simple. You don't get what you want, which is complaining about stuff. You get what you negotiate. So complaining on the internet is for like little boys, children, or women. That's what women do. So this was a conversation I had on TikTok, right? And I wanted to see what you had, your opinion about it, because what a lot of the podcast dudes do, and we're going to talk about a podcaster versus a drug dealer also, if you want to bring that up. Mm-hmm. So what a lot of podcasters do, they tend to make their money by sitting around whining about women all fucking day. And to me, I think it's gay adjacent to do that, because it's counterintuitive to the Black community to demonize women when men are literally just like women. Modern men are literally just like the goddamn women that they complain about. So women complain about men, all this other shit, and then here come the men complain about women. And the only difference is one person has a penis, one person has a vagina, but the same old stupid, idiotic bullshit. So before we go down this rabbit hole, what is your opinion? Because remember, the topic of this show is who is the group that is most responsible for killing masculinity, Black men or Black women? So before we go down this rabbit hole, what is your opinion on that? And we'll go for it.
My opinion on men complaining on the internet?
Men sitting around whining about women all goddamn day on the internet. There's no solutions. They just talking shit. And that's why I perceive what you said, because Trev was like, you did this, you did this, you did this, you did this as a man. You fucked. You can't sit around and complain about a woman after you nutted in her, and you turned around and said, well, I think women should do this and women should do. And Trev is like, nigga, I just said you did something. So that's why I added you to the fray of men who sit around and whine about women. Me not knowing you at all, that was an assumption. So do you think men sit around and whine about women all day? Second question, do you think it's productive that they do it? And why don't men talk about what men need to be doing on the internet? Those three questions.
Well, I think men do talk about what men do on the internet. they do also talk about what women do. And I do think we need to hold both sides accountable. The
Okay.
word complain just means expressing dissatisfaction with or annoyance with. So you can express that you're dissatisfied if you go out and you are at a restaurant and you saw some woman twerking and you are annoyed by that because you were at a restaurant, you saw them twerking. That's behavior you don't condone, you don't agree with. If you were outside and you saw some dudes standing on the corner just pants sagging, just drinking, sticking their middle fingers up, you're annoyed. You express dissatisfaction with that. That's stuff that needs to be removed from our community. The internet is a good place to be to express this dissatisfaction because you could reach thousands of people, millions of people by expressing this message. So I have no problem with that.
Let me add context. I like to add context. And shout out to Trev Smooth. He's in here. Shoot a fat with Trev Smooth podcast. I'm about to read your super chat in a second. So here's the problem with masculinity versus femininity. Masculinity is correction. Femininity is complaining. No man needs to be no goddamn where complaining about shit. If I'm at a restaurant and there's a problem, I'm going to stand up and say, hey, let me speak to your manager. And I'm going to explain to the manager and tell him, remember in that video I just said, you don't get what you want, you get what you negotiate. So I'm going to go to the manager and say, hey, there's a problem with my food or my service. And if it's not fixed, I'm going to vote with my feet and never come to this establishment again. I spend good money in here, whether it's Best Buy or whether it's a restaurant. If you condone this type of madness in your store and you refuse to fix it, I'm leaving and I'm never coming back. And my friends are never patronizing this place either. That is action. If it's young boys, just like you just said, and these are your words, so I'm agreeing with you, but the context is wrong because that is not complaining. If you see some young boys doing some bullshit in your neighborhood, you and your people walk up and say, hey, we don't condone this in our neighborhood. Do y'all need a job? Do y'all need something to do? Like what's the problem? And let's see if we can negotiate this into a better scenario. Y'all over here tearing up shit. Do y'all need to go to the basketball court? What do y'all need from us? How can we help facilitate a better environment so y'all won't be running around breaking in cars or cussing at people or whatever? Like, what do y'all want to do? And then we figure out what is better for both of us. But that is action. That is walking up to the actual person committing the offense and saying, hey, not in an aggressive manner and saying, don't do that, but hey, I don't like what you're doing, but there's maybe a better way. So what are you trying to accomplish? And I'll tell you what I'm trying to accomplish, and we come together because I don't like how you're doing it and I want you to stop. But I have to give you some type of incentive for you to stop, which is a better option. You see the difference between complaining, which is, I hate this restaurant. This restaurant makes me sick. And you still in the goddamn restaurant. Or either these goddamn young boys, they don't do shit. That's what women do. Men present themselves and say, hey, I have a problem. How are we going to fix it? Do you see the difference? And this is the specificity that is needed in masculinity for people to understand the difference about whining about women on the internet versus coaching women on the internet like I do. As an example, what you do, you said you teach young boys martial arts, and you said you do some other things. So you and I are doing the same things, which is actions. Does that make sense?
That makes sense. And two things can be true. You know Anton Daniels, right? Don't you?
Mm-hmm.
All right. So he does reaction videos to behaviors that he sees.
I do reaction videos also.
Viral clips. So I can see this action while I'm out at dinner. I can also say, look, the food was okay. The establishment is nice and clean. But, over at table 6, there were, the behavior is unacceptable. So I will not be back, or, maybe I'll revisit again when, you tell me that these things are, fixed, because that's unacceptable behavior to have at an eating establishment. And then I could also go home on YouTube or Instagram or wherever and use my platform to speak out against said behavior to reach more people so that the message becomes more clear, so that the narrative is spread like, yo, this is what was being done at this establishment and we got to do better. That can't be done in public. So both are actions. Some people see those type of things and then they go home and they talk to a friend or they talk to someone about it. That doesn't, you can move the needle by getting out there to reach people and talk about it, and then still come up with a plan and be more structured about how you're going to reduce negative behaviors. I wouldn't just go over to a group of youth who I do not know, depending on the scenario, and try to talk to them about their pants sagging, throwing up their middle finger, because I could put myself in a situation where someone's going to get hurt.
That's
And
why
have
you
to understand
negotiation tactics. I agree with you on that. You can't
Yeah,
go
so
in there aggressively.
I
agree.
go about it in a strategic manner. I edify the youth. I go into households. I teach the youth martial arts and I teach them discipline so I can prevent them from even reaching the corner. So I'm
Yes.
doing it in a more intelligent and structured way.
Right. So, okay, I agree. And just so you know, shout out to Anton Daniels. He critiques, and this is what I'm saying. He does not complain, he critiques, right? When you've reached a certain status, he's a decamillionaire and people are losing their jobs, as an example, he'll do a response video. He'll actually give people an understanding of how not to lose your job or how to put yourself in a situation where you don't lose your job in the future. That is not complaining. So Anton does not complain about women all day. A lot of these dudes on YouTube, they sit around, it'll be a whole bunch of motherfuckers, a whole bunch of avatars, and they just like, these bitches or these women or this and that, this and that. That is what I'm saying as far as, and the reason why this is important is the conversation has to be had in order to separate the men that are complaining about women all day. They don't never say nothing about men, and the men that are actually at least talking about men and women equally, because both groups are the problem and not one group, instead of just sending a narrative that is saying that women are the problem and men are not. Men are a bigger problem than the women, but none of these niggas want to talk about that. And that could be something we can disagree on. Let me read this super chat. Shout out to Chew the Fat with Smooth Podcast. Shout out to Trev Smooth. I'm glad to see you gentlemen come together to speak about these topics. Shout out to you, bro. So, and Trev, if you want to come up, you can come up, because we're just going to have dialogue. Because like I said, I want to have a conversation. You wanted to debate because it ain't really shit to debate about, but we can call it a debate if you want to. But altogether, there's a difference in context that has to be like understood. Sitting around complaining ain't getting nothing done. But if you're offering a concept, if you're offering a solution, offering a new way to do things, that is helpful. We have to, because the thing about it is causing men to become gayer and more effeminate and more feminine altogether by whining about women. It's causing men to hate women and go be gay or some shit, because it's like the Fresh and Fit cornballs, they literally just came out a few weeks ago because somebody did a response video to them. They literally said men don't need to live. Men and women don't need to live together. Men need to live with other men. They out there promoting gay shit. So I'm like, yo, this is a problem. And this is and they're bringing in more and more and more young men, making them gay. And I'm like, yo, this is bad. So a solution to that is literally to be the opposite of what them half gay niggas is saying and doing. So that's all I can do. But guess what? Their platform is bigger. They have more views, because pushing this half gay shit actually gets eyes, because it confirms what these young men's realities are. If they can't get women, and then there's men saying that women are trash and that women are stupid and women are dumb and don't even be with them, it makes them feel good about themselves. And they're like, oh, damn, yeah, fuck them, because I can't get them anyway. You know what I'm saying? It's confirming their dysfunctional reality instead of giving them solutions. And I'm not saying Fresh and Fit does not give solutions, because they do talk about finances. They do talk about other things like that. So I do give them credit for that. But when one of your biggest live streams that they do is, you know, with the little drunk bitches, it literally goes direct in conflict with what they're trying to help men with. It makes no sense. And that's why so many young men are so confused, which is my point on why masculinity is under attack by men and not by women.
Okay, so by definition,
hit the like button, y'all.
To say something is wrong or not satisfactory, Antoine Daniels does that when he on women. He doesn't do that just on women only, but he does do what the definition of complaint is, according to Cambridge and Merriam-Webster. He expresses something is wrong or not satisfactory with behaviors that he sees. And there are several platforms.
Without offering a solution, he offers solutions.
What's the solution? It's a simple solution. Don't do it.
No, that's not a solution.
That is a solution.
Here's the thing that moms do, and this is the feminine shit right here. Moms just say, don't do that. Dads say, hey, do this instead. Let me show you how to do this. Say you have a kid and all they want to do is sit in the house, right? Play video games. And you're like, yo, I need you to get outside, like get some air. And he says, it's nothing to do outside. Mom is just going to be like, okay, I don't know what to do. And he's going to stay in the house. Dad is going to be like, come on, grab the ball. We're going to throw the football. We're going to go to the basketball court. We're going to go down to the creek, skip some rocks. Let's go jogging. Let's go outside. Let's go do this. Let's go hiking. It's a little hiking trail. Let's go do this. Let's go do that. It's about what you are inspiring the child to do by leading by example. And this is the problem with feminine behavior from women and moms. They say don't do that. Correction is not don't do that. It's exchanging what the person is doing for doing something better or different or more productive. And that is the femininity versus the masculinity. So you are wrong.
No, you're wrong. I'm going to explain why when you're done.
Go ahead.
So there's solution and then there's alternative solution. What you just explained was the difference between solutions and alternative solution. A man, when he says don't do that, here's the alternative to doing that. Mom is don't do that. Both of them are still correction. I'm an educator. If I tell a student, hey, don't do that, that's making your work look more incorrect, don't write that, that's a correction. An alternative correction is, instead of writing that word, write this word. It makes your work look better. So
that's literally what an educator is.
Yeah,
use alternative word instead of that word. Instead of saying don't use this word, you're not doing that as an educator. You're telling them to use this word instead of that word. That's grammar 101. Am I wrong?
No, but it depends on the type of person you're dealing with.
Same words over and over again in your grammar as an educator. Use this word instead. Add to your vocabulary. Am I wrong?
You can teach kids to interpolate and use different words. Sometimes a correction is, sometimes you just cross a word out though. Sometimes the word doesn't need to be there. Sometimes
in most situations, you have to use a better word. Am I right or wrong?
On the situation. Sometimes a correction is just you cross the word out. Don't use that. Sometimes it's don't use that word. Use this word instead. So it's still a solution, though, if you say don't use that. It depends on the situation. Sometimes you need to put an alternative in place, and sometimes you don't. Sometimes the simple correction.
In no situation will you not have to use an alternative, sir.
What?
There's no situation, like you say, cross something out. There's almost no situations that will cause you to just cross something out and not do something. Because the reason why the person is doing, even a drug, don't do drugs, is stupid. Don't you think the person that is doing the goddamn drug knows that it's stupid? There's something going on in their brain or in their life that is causing them to feel compelled to do the drug. The drug is a coping mechanism. So instead of saying don't use drugs, which is stupid to tell a person that does drugs, you say, okay, what is going on in your life that is causing you to have to use drugs to cope? And then they say, I ain't got no money. I lost my job. My mom did this. My dad did this. And then you have a conversation with them and get them to change their perception of their reality. And then when you change their perception of their reality, as an example, I felt like, keyword felt like, my dad just stopped talking to me when I was a kid. I ended up changing my perception of my reality and said my dad was annoyed by me due to the fact that I actually had a car at an age where he did not have a car. So having a 16-year-old son with a car versus him not having a car as a 40-year-old man made him feel a certain kind of way. And because of that, he pulled away from his own son because his son was making him feel like a loser by contrasting himself next to him. So he stopped wanting to be around me because as a 16-year-old, because I was a drug dealer, whether right or wrong, we can get into a drug dealer conversation, I had more resources than a grown-ass man did. And it made my dad feel insecure about himself. So to make himself feel better about his own life, he stopped talking to me. Do you see how I changed my perception of my own life, of my own childhood trauma? So if I was smoking crack or doing drugs or drinking, I actually would stop slowly because the actual reason why I was drinking or doing drugs changed in my mind because of the alternative scenario. Without that alternative scenario, somebody telling me not to do drugs, not to smoke crack, not to smoke weed, not to drink, ain't going to make no sense to me. I'm like, nigga, get out my face. Does that make sense?
Yes, that makes sense. That's what I just said. There's a difference between solutions and alternative solutions. If I'm correcting a student and a student says, when I went to the store, the man was playing the music very loudly, I would say, cross out very. Don't need it there, unnecessary. If they say, I went to the store and the man was playing the music loud, I'm going to say, how loud? You can say, add the word very there now. Sometimes the correction is just crossing out. Sometimes you need an alternative. Drugs is very intense. You shouldn't tell someone who's addicted to especially something that is, a higher level drug and say, oh, just stop
Don't do that.
You would have to put an alternative in place. Oh, you're going to pray, you're going to exercise, you're going to go to therapy, you're going to do X, Y, Z. These are the steps you're going to do to cope with this instead of doing that. Sometimes, depending on what it is, you just say, no, don't do that. And then sometimes,
but as a rule of thumb, no, don't do that to a certain degree ain't going to get you nowhere. Am I right or am I wrong? As a rule of thumb.
What'd you say? What's the question? As
a rule of thumb, telling somebody not to do something is not going to help them with their situation as a rule of thumb. You have to give them an alternative solution, correct? As a rule of thumb.
As a rule of thumb, I think you should replace it with an alternative solution. Yes.
Right. That's what I'm saying. The difference between masculinity and femininity. In order for us to fix the masculinity in young men, we have to tell them what to do, where to go, and what to believe, instead of telling them, don't do this and don't do that. And that is a problem with the complaining about women online. All they do is want to whine about women all day and it doesn't fix anything. All it does is piss women off. It's just dumb. Give them an alternative solution, which is telling women what we want versus what we don't, and vote with our feet, which is I don't date this type of woman and I don't date that type of woman. And because what I actually talk about is, as an example, wig wearers. All right. I would smash a wig wearer with no problem. But I tell wig wearers that all you're going to do is get penis. You're not going to get somebody that's going to want to be with you. So the alternative is if you start wearing your natural hair a little bit more, because wig wearer is almost like a crackhead. They are addicted to wearing all this stupid shit. So they feel the need to do it, right? So it's like a crackhead saying don't do drugs. So instead of saying don't wear wigs, I say, hey, if you want a man to actually take you seriously, you have to take yourself seriously by wearing your own hair. Now, if you are in media, it is assumed or accepted that you wear wigs all the time because you are in media. And that is what it is, because at the end of the day, I can't tell a woman how to respond to media, because media, like, you can work at a media company and they would probably tell you to wear wigs and not your real hair. So, and media is usually ran by men. So I can't tell a woman that is in media to not wear wigs, because she can turn around and lose her job.
That behavior is not part of the solution, though, Aaron. You shouldn't be smashing wig wearers either. You shouldn't smash one if you wouldn't cuff one.
Well,
if you wouldn't wife one, you shouldn't smash one.
There you go with the should or shouldn't. You're not a rule setter, so you can't tell me what to do.
So how do we come up with solutions? How do we come up with alternatives without saying
alternative should?
Alternative is you should do this instead.
Listen. I don't work off should. Should make
that's an alternative.
Okay.
Do this instead. You should do this instead.
Listen. I don't like the word should. You can use it, but it makes me want to.
I don't like the word should. Now, was that feminine or masculine? I don't like the word.
I have a problem with if I call you a derogatory word, your job is to set a boundaries. Like, yo, I don't like it when you say that.
But should is not a derogatory term.
It is derogatory to me. I didn't
oh
say,
my God.
Hold on, sir. I didn't say don't use it. I said I don't like the word. I see it as derogatory. You can use it. It's okay. You're commenting to me saying something. I'm cool. I'm saying the word should is a problem to me. Okay, that's all I'm saying. Because to me, the word should is feminine, but to you, it may be something different.
Men should take care of their children. You have a problem with that, huh?
The rule is you take care of your children, or this is going to be happening.
No, but I just said should. So you don't like
and
that.
I said, if you don't take care of your children, like as an example, Dr. Umar Johnson. Dr. Umar Johnson has been exposed for being a deadbeat because he wasn't taking care of his children. So he got all hell on social media. So we all went on social media and called the man a piece of shit, which causes him to lose money when he speaks in front of a crowd, because now the crowd does not respect him because he's a bum. That now causes him to want to go sit down and talk to his fucking child and his baby mama and fix his shit, because we as a community is calling him out as a bum. Do you see the difference? And here's the thing. Here's the key. I don't complain about Dr. Umar Johnson. I'm saying, Umar Johnson, you are a piece of shit. You are a bum. And if anybody uses you to speak to their people, they are also a piece of shit, because they are contributing to a bum. Go see your child, sir. You're a bum. Do you see the difference? I don't sit here and say, well, he should do this. No, you are going to do this, or you're going to be absconded out of the black community, you piece of shit bum. Do you see the difference?
No.
Okay.
I don't see why, like I just said, if you make a declaration to someone, you like I said, when we're having alternatives, we can't play semantical games. It's don't do this. If you're trying to help someone, you say instead of doing this, you should do
Don't
this
do it.
instead.
No.
It's a recommendation, especially if by your own rules, if I'm setting the rules, rules are recommendations. You can't determine if someone's going to follow it or not. You just you tell them what to do. You say, here,
Okay,
do this.
I agree. I'm setting a narrative for a rule to be set, because the thing about it is, like I said earlier, I'm not a rule setter. I'm not the government, and I am not, I don't have control, right? But if, kind of like what we're talking about with the women, right? If everybody on social media, if every black leader, if everybody who has money to pay people to speak, learn, keyword learn, that this man is a deadbeat father and his name is Dr. Deadbeat instead of Dr. Umar Johnson. Next thing you know, he starts losing money because nobody wants to fuck with him. I just set a narrative, and that narrative later on became a rule that now is causing him to go broke. And now, because of him going broke, he now has to go fix his situation with his kids. And his kids or baby mama has to come to social media and say, because of what y'all did on social media to Umar Johnson, he now is in his child's life. And then we will turn around as a community and set a new narrative and say, you know what? Because of Umar Johnson changing his ways, we now accept him in our community, and he can use what the correction was and now change the narrative and say, yo, I was once a deadbeat dad. So now, because I'm no longer a deadbeat dad, let's do this and do that. And he could be, because that's what a lot of black preachers are. Most black preachers are ex-crackheads, ex-convicts. These niggas is whole bums. But because they're no longer on crack, they can teach other people how to better themselves, because it's about bettering yourself, not being perfect.
Aaron,
and that is an alternative scenario and not a don't do that.
Should is a verb to express obligation. When we're talking in generalizations to our community, the black community, we're going to say what you should and should not do. In the black community, we should unite. We should love one another. We should promote financial literacy. We should not have, we should come together and have children in wedlock. These are shoulds.
Sir, we're stuck back on should. Like, this is what I said earlier.
No, because I don't want you triggered by the word. I just gave should statements.
I told you it's okay for me to be triggered by the word, bro. I literally said, I said it's okay. I just said I don't like the word, and you keep getting stuck on stuff, and I'm trying to keep the conversation going. I don't want to argue about the word should. I just said I don't use it. So once again,
no, did you miss the statements I said though?
Forward. Can we move forward, sir? I don't care.
I just defined the word and expressed it to you, though. I just hope you understood the statements I said.
Sir, nobody cares. Nobody
People do
cares.
care, though. And to what you said, you should not sleep with wig wearers if you wouldn't wife one.
I will do, and I'm gonna do what the hell I want to do.
You would sleep with a crackhead, but you wouldn't wife one.
That don't make no sense.
Yeah, what you doing don't make no sense. Don't sleep with a wig wearer if you wouldn't wife one. This is why they have this delusion in their head. It's too many men that entertain women on a dating level or an intimate level that they wouldn't wife. Don't do that.
So niggas ain't wifing none of these women. That's the first thing. So that shit don't even matter.
Who's niggas?
Niggas ain't wifing nobody.
Who's
y'all ain't. Are you married?
Yes.
Okay, I'm not married. So,
biblically, I'm married biblically.
What can you explain?
So I have a new young lady who I am with, and biblically, once you consummate a marriage, you're married. So
You signed a ketubah?
excuse me?
Signed a ketubah? Was there
No, that's not
how
how
did
they
you
did it
marry her?
biblically. Huh?
How did you marry her?
We consummated our marriage. That's how.
How did you marry her?
We consummated our marriage. I'm telling you.
Okay, I'm finna just keep going because,
Okay.
like, yeah, just it's just the circular conversations is just driving me nuts. Let's do this. Put a 1 in the chat if you think my man here keep like screwing up the whole conversation and you would like to move on. Put a 1 in the chat if you agree. Just because she's driving me nuts.
No, let's move on.
Thank you. Let's move on. All right. So shout out to Fly Gemini. Hit the like button, please. It's still free. Subscribe and share. Thank you so much, Fly Gemini. All right. So let me start this over because it was a goddamn hour since I first played this. Shit.
This is crazy. My issue with all of this. I think men do complain too much, whether it's a solution or not. It is not masculine for men to be running around complaining. So the way I just look at life is really simple. You don't get what you want, which is complaining about stuff. You get what you negotiate. So complaining on the internet is for like little boys, children, or women. That's what women do. So when women are complaining on the internet, they're supposed to do that because that's, they're women. But when men do it, it's not masculine. So this is the answer to everything because life is very simple. It's not easy, but it's simple. There's something called attrition. Attrition simply means as time goes by, problematic people simply get phased out. So when it comes to men talking about women, why are you talking about women? Why don't you just move in a certain direction, choose this woman, choose that woman? And if everybody operates the way they supposed to operate instead of in this feminine operation, the women who are problematic are going to fall to the wayside and they're going to just simply fall in line. See,
so I'm going to go a little farther, but do you agree or disagree that is the alternative to whining about women online?
The alternative to whining about women online.
Yeah, that was literally the conversation. I had a problem with men whining. Oh, but if you don't have anything to say, I want to just keep going.
No, keep going.
Huh?
Keep going.
Okay. All right. So here's a little spot.
As a man, you stay consistent and do your job and move in direction and don't worry about no goddamn.
Hold on.
One of the things that men are seeing in common is women not submitting. I think if we weren't to talk about these things, men would go silent. All right? I don't think that would be good for us. And the reason I don't think it would be good for, and maybe it would over the long term, but in the short term, I think it would end up being some very bad things. You'd have a whole bunch of women online talking to each other about what they hate about relationships, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And I doubt, just because of how we understand women's temperament, I doubt most of them would come to the conclusion that, you know what, I'm tired of talking back and forth with y'all about how terrible men are. I'm going to go get me a man and do what men want. I doubt they would come to that conclusion. If, in all honesty, I think that it would be the death of them altogether.
So let me ask you a question.
Sure.
Like I like to offer concepts and systems, right? So the concept that I just offered was the plane crash, right?
Okay.
So imagine all of us on plane crash, we out looking crazy, we grabbing our stuff or whatever, right? Mm-hmm. If you see some dudes over there complaining that the women over here are not following them, wouldn't you look at both of them like idiots? Wouldn't you just grab your stuff and try to grab a knife or and just start figuring stuff out and get with whoever is trying to work with you?
Let me ask you.
Hold on. And the thing about it is, there's no reason for a man to complain about a woman that he either doesn't want or isn't on his what I'm saying? Like, who cares?
All right.
You got anything to say? I'm looking for a certain
That's
part.
not true. If I'm in the black community and I date black women, you would, the word complain, again, words have meaning, means to express dissatisfaction. I'm going to express dissatisfaction with things I see in my community. So just because I wouldn't date that woman because she's obese doesn't mean we don't need to fix obesity in the black community. That doesn't make sense. You don't have to want to date her to express dissatisfaction or to say the behavior is wrong. We have to fix the black community. That starts with expressing dissatisfaction.
Sitting online whining about women being fat is not fixing obesity.
It's not just sitting online. I didn't say that.
That is the context of that conversation. The niggas sitting online complain about fat women. Just don't date them, or help them come up with alternative solutions on how to not be fat or lose weight. I just left the gym. That's why I had to set this 30 minutes later, because I decided to go to the gym and I ran a little too late and I had to come home and take a shower. So as an example, I try to go to the gym every day. The people in my chat know I most of the time eat 1 time a day. I intermittent fast. So I actually lead by example. So anybody that follows me, they can just see how I operate. They already know I eat salmon and broccoli almost every day. So I don't run around having brunch and eating all this bullshit, because what a lot of women tend to do, they just eat dumb shit all day long because it feels good. No, I eat the same thing. So I eat to survive. I don't survive to eat. You know what I'm saying? So the thing about it is, well, I eat to live instead of living to eat. Mm-hmm. So the reason why women are so fat is because they love eating, and you got to get that love for eating out of your system. And you have to just eat because it's time to eat, not because you're hungry, because the feeling that you have when you're hungry is not hunger. It's actually your body eating itself. But y'all, not you, but they dumbasses, they feel hungry and they go out and eat. Your body is eating itself. Leave it alone. So that is an example of a concept or a system that will help obese women be less obese, versus saying, oh, you fat bitches. You feel me?
Right. But again, I teach the youth, and by saying the youth, ages 14 to 19, and I teach martial arts to kids.
What city are you in?
And I teach martial arts to kids 5 to 19. So
I said, what city are you in?
I'm in New York.
Okay, that's what's up.
So the youth, they're online. The youth is going to see, if you go on YouTube, you go on Instagram, you go on TikTok, you go on these streaming platforms, and you express dissatisfaction with behavior, you're going to reach the next generation. You're going to reach the youth. That's how you're going to prevent them from doing these detrimental behaviors. If you get online and you say, oh, y'all out there, y'all tired of seeing these big, such and such men and women, you can say both, who are displaying these negative characteristics. Get your butt in the gym. Here's a workout plan. Hey, start off with, walking a mile if you can't run. Walk a mile in there. It should take you, 15 to 20 minutes. And you come up with a plan for them still. You're still complaining. You're expressing dissatisfaction, even if you come up with a plan for them. But the people who want to in this day and age, it's not hard to look up an exercise routine or a diet plan or get a doctor. So it starts with expressing the dissatisfaction with these behaviors that we see that are negative, that are detrimental. Then you can roll out a plan. But again, the youth is online. So if you come online and you express this dissatisfaction, that's who you're reaching. When people come online and they express things negative, they don't have to say a negative alternative. The youth follows negative when they don't have positive mentors. So we just need someone with a positive narrative.
Gotcha. So Brown Sugar says, some women are emotionally eating, and they eat because they have been spoiled all their life and rarely were told no. I fit both of these categories, shaking my head. That can lead to overconsumption and pounds. So this is another solution. I'm about to play a commercial, but this is another solution right here. I have products that women buy and men buy, of course, which is this card game, that will help them let go of their childhood trauma. This card game right here is called Like Mother, Like Daughter, and it puts women in a position where they can, quote unquote, confront their mother that most likely traumatized them and caused them to feel the need to overeat and overindulge due to how their mother taught them or how their mother traumatized them. Because sometimes if you feel bad, you just go eat. because that's how you were doing when your mom made you feel less than when you were a child. So you buy this card game, and it's a fun card game to play, and she plays the card game with her mother. And because of that, it puts her and her mother in a position where they can forgive each other for whatever issues that they have not been able to articulate themselves. So this card game helps them articulate their issues with each other and their issues with themselves due to the mother or the daughter. And guess what? It can cause the woman to let go of her emotional eating problem. So Brown Sugar, I know you bought one of the card games. I'm not sure if you bought a mother-daughter card game. This card game could put you in a position where you no longer would have food as a coping mechanism when you have problems, eating, because food is one of the biggest coping mechanisms the average person has, and they cope with their childhood trauma and they end up gaining a whole bunch of weight. That is an alternative solution instead of just saying women are fat. And I've said that before, but I've always offered an alternative solution to this. So I want to get to a specific part of this. Hold on a second.
Best looking man who has the most money. None of those things are going to matter when this plane goes down and we're in the wild. So now it would.
Oh, you ain't done. I'm sorry. I thought you was done.
So I think that's how we would probably function. Now, this would end up, if we don't come to a conclusion about this, it would turn into a survival of the fittest situation. In other words, the men would start to murk each other out or put ourselves because they're feeling less than, and the women are making them feel so. If we don't self,
here we go.
And we would be in conflict. So I think that even those men that don't have women, yes, they're feeling disenfranchised.
Here we go.
Situation. In other words, the men would start to murk each other out or put ourselves in positions.
He starts talking about how men deserve pussy,
where we'd be marked out, because an injury in that circumstance is pretty much signing the death warrant itself, and we would be in conflict. So I think that even those men that don't have women, yes, they're feeling disenfranchised, but those are legitimate complaints, because if we don't listen to that population of men that are not getting women because they're feeling less than, and the women are making them feel so,
the women are making them feel so.
If we don't curtail this man, this population of men will soon one day rise up. This is what you see the simps doing first. That's the light-skinned version of the man that's not getting none. The dark-skinned gangster version of that man is a man that's sick of this shit, and now he's in prison. He about to off somebody. I'm taking anybody's life because I'm sick of not being wanted, not being desired, etc., etc. Now we can try to.
So, what is your opinion on that? Because we're talking about masculinity and who is killing masculinity. That is verbiage that is killing masculinity more than anything that a woman can do. Because at the end of the day, if men are literally saying that men need to have sex with women, and if they don't, they're going to start murking people, is the dumbest shit in the world. But this is what men are thinking. They think they deserve women instead of earning women. What is your opinion about that?
Well, saying that if men don't have sex, they're going to start murking people is ridiculous. And that's a lack of, again, emotional intelligence, a lack of intelligence in general, and sexual discipline.
Okay.
That's just stupid. I don't agree with that. Men need to focus on themselves. Strong body, strong mind, strong spirit is what I promote. If you're on my Instagram, that's what I promote. And then you are going to be able to find a suitable partner by living in those steps: strong body, strong mind, strong spirit. It doesn't have to be in any particular order, but if you have all three of those, you're going to build yourself physically, emotionally, financially, mentally, and then the right woman is going to come into your life. You're going to be able to have discernment and think critically and think stronger. You're going to vibrate at a higher level to be able to get the woman that suits you, and you're going to be able to have intercourse with her. So that's just ridiculous in general. That's ridiculous.
Okay. Because like I said, I thought you was going to agree with him. So I thank you for not agreeing with him, because I knew you was going to be like, well, yeah, that's the problem with women, because and this proves that you are not like these cornballs that I thought you were. So shout out to you. Do you see how I'm seeing that you are not them? And that is one of the reasons why I wanted to have you on here, to see if you were them. And if you were them, it's cool, but you are not them. So
but that's what my whole thing is, and the problem. This is another problem that people have that I've noticed. It's what Kevin Samuels used to say with the sign language: shame, insults, guilt need to be right, and people prejudging people before they get to know them. Based off the little clip that you saw, I don't know how you can operate off of conjecture and arrive at that conclusion from that. Is what was my problem.
Gotcha. So speaking of Kevin Samuels, check this out.
Disagreement.
I don't feel even if black men reach the certain level that that we should aspire to reach.
And remember, we're talking about who is killing masculinity the most.
I don't think the black women will follow us. I feel like 80% of them will still shit on us and leave us hanging.
Why? First of all, you said I feel twice.
Do you see a problem with him saying I feel twice?
Yeah, because I feel is emotional.
It's emotional. I agree.
See any issue with that?
No.
That's a problem.
That's a problem.
As a man, you shouldn't worry about how you feel. It's about what we think and what we do. It's one of the things we talk about women all the time. They always say, I feel. So what makes black women biologically different than any other group of women?
Biologically?
Yes.
See, he don't even know what the fuck to say. So what this man essentially is saying is, even if he makes a lot of money, so he's speaking for a group of men that he doesn't even know about, because he's like, even if I do make a lot of money, I'm still not going to be accepted by women. But if you look at him, he looks like a bum. He looks dirty. His screen is fuzzy, and he looks like he stinks. That is the attack on masculinity. Our own presentation, our own feelings about women, our own feelings about ourselves, our lack of belief in ourselves, in feeling that even if we do make a lot of money, women still aren't going to want us. That is the gay shit, or the gay adjacent shit, that I see as the attack on masculinity. Because when a man himself, forget about women, when a man himself literally tells another man that no matter what I do, I'm not going to get the results I want, it's going to cause not only him, but people watching him to sit back and say, well, it's hopeless. There's no reason for me to try. I might as well not try. And he's going to most likely go be gay or some shit. What do you think about that? What he said. Don't worry about what I said.
Well, the dude in the video talking to Kevin Samuels is a poor representation of black men. And usually those are the type of men who will call in for that type of, some form of guidance and have no problem with saying, I feel. His mindset is incorrect. Like I said, he doesn't appear to be working on his strong body by him not seeing the problems with I feel twice within conversation regarding, speaking on, his mindset. That doesn't appear to be a strong mind. And that ties into your spirit. The body and the mind, it ties into your spirit. So he seems to be failing in all three of the categories that I promote. However,
and remember the other guy in the other video somewhat said the same thing in that audio. But go ahead.
However, what we can see, I don't know what he means by get his income right and still not be able to, but we do see
probably the marriages that end and the woman take half. Men always turn around and say, but if you marry her, you get your stuff together, she's still gonna take all your shit, she's still gonna leave you. Is this fear of a woman leaving him, like he can't just go get another woman? But go ahead.
Yeah, what we do see is like what we used to see on Kevin Samuels show. Now we see it more so on Kendra G's show. there are women who call in and they have an unrealistic expectation of what they want in a man, what they desire in a man, physically and income driven, based on what they represent. The numbers are just ridiculous that they come up with for saying that they want a man who makes $300,000, $500,000, $1 million a year. That's a ridiculous goal to put on a man, especially if you are desiring a black man. If in that sense, that's where that's where you see a lot of people speaking out, and that's why Kevin Samuels blew up with these women who would call in on a nightly basis, 4, 5, 6 women calling in, and we can see in real time you got 3 baby daddies, 3 kids or more, and you're talking about your next man has to make at least $150,000, $200 annually, and then half the time their income didn't even equal up to that, but they're hypergamous, so they want a man who makes more. It doesn't make sense. You have to date within your boundaries. You have to date with what you represent. A dude like him, the dude in that clip, he should be happy with the woman that he can get. Now he's probably trying to go for the pretty woman and things of that like that, who look a certain way, and then he's like, oh, they don't like me. No, go date what you can date. That's his problem. Further, you should be trying to be on your highest level, mentally, physically, spiritually, but date on your level and stop trying to go for Beyonce, Kelly Rowland, and Rihanna. Date where you are.
So let's talk about the drug dealer versus the good man. And we're going to play a commercial, and then we'll come back because this is something that you wanted to talk about, because I said I understand why women will date the drug dealer versus the good man. So we'll be right back, and we're going to talk about that, and I'm going to validate my point. And this is one of the good men that I'm talking about. This little bum looking ass dude talking to Kevin Samuels. He probably work at UPS, and but we'll talk about it in a second. That will help every woman. I just came up with a solution that will help every woman watching, regardless of age, regardless of background. See, in my 7 years of coaching women, the number one thing that I hear in my coaching sessions is her issue or tumultuous relationship with her mother. So what I've done is come out with a card game that will actually help mothers and daughters come back together. We have to get to the source of a woman's pain, her inadequacies, her insecurities, and heal that little girl inside of her before she goes out in the world as a woman. I call Like Mother, Like Daughter therapy in a box. Therapy in a box is 50 questions for the daughter to ask the mother, questions that you always wanted to ask. And it's also 50 questions for the mother to ask the daughter. But when you're able to ask the questions that you always wanted to ask to your mother without her getting upset, without her pulling rank on you, the lines of communication are now open. When women are finally able to forgive their mother, relationships outside of the household would then blossom. Because for most women, there's a hurt little girl inside of her that never had an opportunity to be seen or heard. But all that stops when you buy my new Like Mother, Like Daughter card game. Order it now. The link is under this video. Click the link and let's start healing. All right. So earlier in the DMs, we were talking about how do you want to bring up how we talked about? I'm trying to remember what we specifically how the conversation started.
You were referring to, you brought up the Daily Wrap-Up Crew clip, and you was talking about how they was talking about how they don't like when these women date drug dealers.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
You said that they were mad that they can't get the drug dealer, and I mean that they can't get the woman because the woman is
drug dealer. She was choosing the drug dealer. Yeah,
yeah. And I'm like, no. First of all, specifically the Daily Wrap-Up Crew, I know those brothers, and I know that's not what they were saying.
And I said a podcaster versus a drug dealer.
Right. And I'm saying a woman should date a podcaster before she dates a drug dealer. And I was like, they were talking about the mindset of a woman who would prefer a drug dealer over a podcaster. And a woman should prefer a podcaster over a drug dealer just based off what they represent. The podcaster is a legitimate person. It could be a business. They're making money. They could grow from it. They're not breaking the law. They're not destroying their community. They represent something positive rather than the negative that the drug dealer represents, who's doing something illegal, who's destroying his community, who he could end up incarcerated. There's usually violence attached to drug dealing. So the woman should prefer the podcaster rather than the drug dealer. So even if we use the dude in the clip, a woman who would date a dude like that should prefer a dude like that, the same guy who is a podcaster, rather than a guy who's just like that, who's a drug dealer.
And what I said is, I totally understand why a woman would pick a drug dealer over a podcaster or a dude like this. So let's ask the chat. Who, let's just say, because some people are men, some people are women. Do you understand? Let's just say that. Do you understand why a woman would choose to date a drug dealer instead of dating a podcaster or this guy right here? In the chat, yes or no? Just say yes or no. Do you understand why a woman would date a drug dealer instead of this dude? If he has a good job, or if it's a podcaster and, you know, he was a podcaster. Do you understand why she would pick the drug dealer? Yes or no? Shout out to Something to Think About, L. Nix. Great show with Dr. Will James. Please like, share, and comment. All right, Letitia says, I understand why a certain type of woman would. I used to date drug dealers because they were much more assertive and masculine and were providers. And that was part of my opinion. So y'all keep saying it, saying y'all opinion. Yes or no? Do you understand why a woman would pick a drug dealer over this dude here or one of these little podcast dudes? All right, no, not a normal, respectable woman. Okay. Y'all keep answering, though. Y'all keep answering. So what I said was, I totally understand why a woman would pick a drug dealer, because women are hypergamous and there is disposable income from the drug dealer that he would openly spend on a woman. She can get her bills paid. She can get whatever she wants from him. She could possibly even get a car from him, you know, because he's a drug dealer. He has disposable income. And another thing is, what October 3074 said, they are more assertive, they're more masculine, and, you know, the provider part, you know, could be temporary or whatever. So I'm not going to use the provider part, but it's the see, masculinity, part of masculinity is the ability to take risk, or the openness to take risks. And the drug dealer in this situation is more open to take risks, even though it could put him in prison. Now, being a drug dealer is a bad thing. I've been a drug dealer in the past before. I'm lucky enough to not have went to jail. And being a drug dealer and having the things that I had, and having the thing, and my friends having the things that they had, we got all the women. And other men who work jobs did not. So I see things from both sides, because I stopped selling drugs and I started working a job, and my drug dealer friends would literally start laughing at me when I couldn't afford shit because I stopped selling drugs. And it was hilarious how my own friends was talking shit about me because I chose to stop selling drugs. So I understand. I'm not saying it makes sense. I just said I understand, because women have this feeling of, they have the need to have the man be better than her in some type of way, whether it's in stature, whether it's in income, whether it's in ambition, because a drug dealer is ambitious. A podcaster can be ambitious too. You know, some Podcasters make a lot of money. But altogether, I understand why a woman would date a drug dealer over this dude here. And that's all I'm saying.
I understand it's childish and stupid.
Yes, it is childish and stupid. But I think women are children. I think women are children. So yes, it is childish and stupid. But women are childish and some of them are stupid. Women are extremely childish.
Oh my God.
But looking at this dude right here, he'll say, well, this is the problem. It's because they're childish and stupid and they won't pick me. The thing about it is your job is to get in put yourself in a position where women would want to go after you versus you go after them. So what would you say to this guy in this video if he thinks that women are looking at drug dealers instead of him? What would you say to him that would help him get the women or in a situation? Unlike the guys on the podcast, because I don't want to make it like they are bad or not able to get women. Let's use this guy as an example.
I would tell that guy not to worry about those type of women. Don't worry about females who
he can't get no ass though.
Huh?
He can't get no ass. Look at him. He can't get no ass. You can tell. He ain't get no ass.
That's just a bigger issue then. It's not about, he shouldn't be worried about the women who are worried about drug dealers. And if he can't get any woman, you need to fix yourself first, is what I would tell him. What I said, strong body, strong mind, strong spirit. Focus on your physicality, your health. Your health comes first. You can't do anything if you're not healthy. Focus on your health, your diet, your exercise. You should be exercising, getting your cardio in, your cardiovascular. That helps your cardiovascular system. These are things that people should do. He should be focused on that. Then get your spirit right. What's your form of spirituality that you believe in? Get strong with that. Get that centered. Then at the same time, simultaneously, he should be working on his finances, his income, his credit. Build yourself up. Then you can worry about a woman and what they're looking for, or what they're checking for. The way he's looking and presenting himself is not strong enough to even be worried about that. But if he was saying, oh, they prefer drug dealers over me, and I clean toilets and I do this, and I make an honest living, he shouldn't even be worried about those type of women, because those are little girls who are childish and can't even appreciate a working man.
So do you think that's the issue? The women are childish and they don't appreciate a working man?
Women in general? No, there are some women, like we saw calling to Kevin Samuels, like we see calling to Kendra G, and they have unrealistic expectations where they don't appreciate the average man, the average working man, where they say that $75,000 is not enough or $100,000 is not enough. And that's the problem I have. When I speak on these dating relationships and these podcasts about dating, I'm not just thinking of dating. I'm thinking of how we form the Black nuclear family again. And that can't happen if we don't have Black people coming together, dating and having realistic expectations to form a family. There's nothing wrong if a man has morals and principles and he's a God-fearing man, he's a strong, masculine man, he knows how to lead, he's willing to put his life on the line for his family, his wife, his children. He's not going to put his hands on her, never make her look crazy in any type of way, and she's not going to do the same to him. We should be able to come together and have an understanding. Hey, I only make $80,000 a year, but my $80,000, along with my $80,000, I have good credit. I'm protecting the youth. I intend to improve myself. Never going to let my family down, never going to let us starve. A woman should look at that guy and say, you know what? He's good for me. I'm okay with him, rather than trying to go get a dude who makes $2 million a year, but he has no morals. He's going to, going to cheat all over you, risk your health. He's not that healthy, smoking and drinking, doing all types of stuff, not God-fearing. Choose morals and principles with a certain level of income over just looking at income, then looking at morals and principles. I think we have to tie it all together. You can't have these just unrealistic expectations, and every guy got to make 100,000 or better, or 150,000 or better, when that's less than 9% of black men.
So would it make more sense for men to leave women alone until they can make that much money, or don't worry about making that much money and just be better morally and ethically?
Yeah, it depends on what that guy's goals are. Like, I'm just so happen to be a person who, on my one income as an educator, I make over 100,000 because I have, titles. I have a doctorate. I have 5 degrees. I have different certifications. On top of that, I have real estate business and different things that I do. And I just so happen to be God-fearing and working on myself in every aspect. But if I wasn't, and my mission was just to promote things for my promote events and my people and things like that, then that would be good enough too.
Yeah. So I agree with you on that. So my whole thing is this, going back to the drug dealer situation. Just to men watching, of course, I wouldn't want my daughter to date no damn drug dealer, of course, right? But I like to seek understanding, and I like to look at things from the other person's point of view. And dudes like this in this video, they're all over the place. And it's not about him not having any money, because he literally said, even if I have a lot of money, women are not going to choose him because he isn't confident, he isn't ambitious, and he isn't masculine. So it's about how you show up in the world. And if you don't show up in the world with some type of confidence or ability to be aggressive, because nobody wants an aggressive person, but you have to have the ability to be aggressive, because it's certain variables in life that will cause you or need you to be aggressive, whether it's sales or whether it's a fight or whether it's something else. But if you don't have it in you, a woman is going to go after the more aggressive person, because like the drug dealer, he in most cases is possibly going to be able to protect her when they're walking down the street versus this dude. So it's a lot of different variables, and not just the selling of drugs, not just the money. We have to grow as men. And going back to the topic, men like this, I think this is I would say millions of men that think like him that has ended or is destroying masculinity. They don't want to be masculine because they don't think they're going to get anything out of it. And that's the problem. They need to be incentivized to be masculine, just like how women talk about they need to be incentivized to be feminine. Have you ever heard that conversation where a woman is say, well, I'll be feminine when a good man comes in my face or whatever, and then the typical guy say, well, can you imagine a man saying that? Well, men are saying that. They're just not saying it like they're acting like a girl. Listen to what he just said right here. Oh, hold on.
Then why
not from a biological perspective.
Then why would they not respond to the same evolutionary biology type things?
From what I've seen from anecdotal experience, it's like it's a temporary
What part of the country
reaction.
do you live in?
Just how he talks, it's
about women all the time. They always say, I feel.
Oh, he said it way early. Hold on.
Reach the certain level that they're
here it is.
That we should aspire to reach. I don't think the black women will follow us. I feel like 80% of them will still shit on us and leave us hanging.
Wow.
So do you see how he's killing masculinity, or they are killing masculinity with their lack of confidence in themselves? And women, they just want masculine men. So they're going to go to the drug dealer. They're going to go to the more masculine man simply because he's more masculine. But all a man has to do is be more masculine, and it's not about money. It's about masculinity. And niggas just don't want to be masculine. He's like, well, I just want to give up because women don't want me. They're literally saying, if I can't get a woman, why be masculine? Go ahead.
A drug dealer is not masculine. Anybody destroying their community is not masculine. That's the opposite of masculinity. Men are protectors. We protect our community. We uplift our community. That's masculine. So a woman who looks to a drug dealer as masculine because he can step up if someone says something crazy or whatever, that's not masculinity, because his profession, what he's doing, is
that is a form of masculinity.
Huh?
That's a form of masculinity. Not being a drug dealer. The things that come up, the aspects of a drug dealer is the masculinity that women are attracted to. So we're talking about what
woman is attracted to that. Girls are. Little kids, a childish mind is attached.
If you take away the fact that he's selling drugs, but he's acting like the drug dealer, but he doesn't sell drugs, that masculine side of him is what is attracting. It's not the fact that he's selling drugs. It's the fact that he's presenting himself in a manner. Do you understand what I'm saying? It's not about the drug dealing. That is not even a conversation, really.
You can't take away from the fact that he is a drug dealer. So I get what you're saying. You're saying
it's a risk taking.
You're saying a man who was like, oh, yo, who said that about my woman? You ready to take up for her and do certain things.
Not even that. No,
that's not acting like a drug dealer.
No,
that's
no.
A man.
No. Okay, we're getting this misconstrued. Take out the fact that the man is selling drugs, but he has a certain mannerism about himself. That is the thing that a lot of modern men do not feel the need to exude unless they're first getting a woman. Remember the first guy in the audio I played, he said, millions of men continue to be shut out by women, his words, they're going to start fighting and acting stupid and shit. That is the opposite of masculinity, when you operate out of emotion. So I understand what you're saying, but the thing about it is the aspects of the drug dealer is what makes him masculine, not the selling of drugs. Is what you have to be in order to sell drugs.
So why can't she, if the podcaster has those same traits as those masculine traits, and the drug dealer has those same traits, then it's out of the, I'm not talking about some little effeminate podcaster who's like, has no masculine characteristics. If the podcaster is, even if he did, it's drug dealers. If the person's a drug dealer, they're destroying our community. Women shouldn't talk to those type of men, and real women don't.
Some podcasters are destroying our community.
Huh?
Some podcasters are destroying our community. Fresh and Fit is destroying our community.
They're not in our community though.
He runs around calling talk shit about women. I'm just saying they're a part of they're the biggest podcast on YouTube. Red Pill Black, or whatever you want to call it. They're not black, but they talk more shit about black people. But they talk more shit about black people than anybody. So podcasters are destroying our community.
No, they're not. Black people don't have to listen. Alba and Preach are bigger than them.
Shout out to Alba and Preach. Yeah,
and Alba and Preach have takes that I agree with.
But I'm giving you an example of how a podcaster can also be destroying our community, is all I'm saying. And to be honest with you, a drug dealer that is selling drugs versus Fresh and Fit is destroying the community more than that one drug dealer. Those two dudes on that platform is destroying the black community more than two drug dealers in a hood.
Depending on how powerful those drug dealers are. I know some drug dealers that move a lot of crack. And
of course. Okay. But what I'm saying is, if you just take away that and look at like what makes the drug dealer attractive, is not selling drugs. Is the fact that he is quick to make decisions. He is okay with taking risks, and he has the respect of other men that are in the hood where he can actually sell drugs. And those aspects makes the man attractive and not just the money. Because like the dude said that was talking to Kevin Samuels, even if the man does make a lot of money, the women still ain't gonna respect him. But they respect the drug dealer.
They shouldn't respect.
So even if the man make more money than the drug dealer, they still gonna pick drug dealer.
In the black community, as soon as they identify his profession as a drug dealer, that's how he earns income. He's getting his income in an illegal manner. They should automatically be turned off because that's not masculine, and that's taking the easy way out.
What if he was a scammer?
Who?
What if he was a scammer?
That's bad too, because that's not a victimless crime. What if you're the victim of the scam? What if it's your credit card that you see 7,000 came off of it, and you're like, yo, what? I didn't do this, and now you're trying to call your company, and hopefully you have security blockage, but some people don't, and then that's what they do. They get people's credit card numbers, and they got people lifting credit card information and stuff like that. That's destroying our black community too. Just build your credit, and then the scammers get caught. I know several scammers who get caught, they snitch, they end up in the feds, all types of stuff. That's not masculine. Masculine is saying, you know what? I'm trying to figure things out, but yo, I'm gonna work this job, I'm gonna work a podcast, I'm gonna work here as a janitor. You can have 2 or 3 jobs. That's masculine. 2 or 3 legal jobs.
I agree with you on that.
Rather than, I'm gonna take the easy way out. I'm gonna bust a move here and I'm gonna sell this, or I'm gonna go over here, I'm gonna hit this store, I'm gonna use this person's card, I'm gonna swipe this, swipe. We need to get that out of our community, because we got too many young kids saying like, yo, my cousin, he or she scam, they bought this and this bags, or they lift bags here and then they go sell them someplace else and they do this and that's terrible. Destroying our community.
I got you. But yeah, of course, I was agreeing with you. I was just saying I understand why women do that, because sadly, it's so many soft dudes, it's so many dudes who don't want to take risks. It almost makes women want to date the drug dealer instead of these dudes. And that's the reason why like I say, masculinity is being killed by the men who don't want to apply themselves. And I'm not saying that men aren't, but the fact that they're whining so much makes it look like they aren't, because we got to get out of that whining mindset and actually start working to protect our community, working to take care of our own kids, working to not have more kids, working to become an entrepreneur, because to a certain degree, this job stuff, everybody's getting laid off no matter where you are. So you have to have some type of hustle about you, right? But at the end of the day, if you don't have that hustle about you, that hardworking man is going to be worse than a drug dealer if he doesn't have the hustle. And a drug dealer is going to be more attractive because he has that hustle. Because if you get laid off as a man and you're this hard working man and you get laid off, and you can't find a job, what you gonna do? The drug dealer has options. That hard working man, if he doesn't have that type of hustle, he's gonna have to go live with his mama. And that was my point. It's the back against the wall, I'm gonna figure this shit out, versus, oh, I gotta find me a job and ain't nobody hiring and I gotta go back and live with my mama. That is the part that I was trying to show you, that I could understand why the woman would go after that guy, because he has something that the working man doesn't necessarily have. Because to be honest with you, a lot of men, the only reason why they're holding shit up is because they have a job. And if that one job fires them, they don't have the mental or emotional fortitude to go out and get another job or a better job or figure out how to do shit without a job. But a drug dealer does. But we're going to end it here. And
no, quickly, because we didn't really. It was designed. It's been designed for women to kill masculinity. That's why women are killing it the fastest since the 1960s, when they had the man in the house law, where they couldn't give financial aid assistance to black women who had a man in the household, and that attacked poverty. Since Rockefeller promoted the women's liberation movement to get more women into the workforce so that they could tax the other half of society and get kids in school earlier to indoctrinate them, because he was a racist and that was part of his plan. Since you had people like Margaret Sloan, a black lesbian, who led the National Black Lesbian Organization, founded that, promoting the modern feminist agenda. They've been promoting the elimination of masculinity, and it's continued to occur into the 21st century with things like BLM, which was organized by 3 black lesbians to promote it. Even on the website in different times, we saw things like toxic masculinity being promoted, which toxic masculinity doesn't even exist, but that was promoted by women. Toxic masculinity doesn't exist. You saw that pop up by females saying that term, which doesn't make sense. You never saw toxic femininity. You see the word like misogynistic appear all the time. That's promoted by women. And you don't hear misandry. You don't hear the counter to it. A lot of people don't even know that. So it's been promoted more. It's been killed more by women, like the women we used to see call into Kevin Samuels' show when they had nothing to combat the argument. Shame, insults, guilt need to be right. And they, even till this day, when they can't argue against a black man, they shame him. They say, oh, he hates his mother. He hates black women. He must be gay, which is where all are emasculating. That's done more so by females than men.
So that is not done by females, because females don't have power. The Black Lives Matter Foundation, or whatever you call it, was ran and funded by George Soros, not these fat lesbian bitches. They were the head. They had no power. So virtually everything, just like you said, the man taken out of the house thing, that was the government, which is ran by men. So everything that you brought up, except for one thing, was a man-led agenda. Even when you said the Rothschilds, that was men. So everything that is systematically affecting black people was man generated and not women generated. They'll have a woman as a head, just like selling a product. You put a pretty woman in front of the product, more people will buy the product. But the woman did not invent the product. The woman didn't create the product. She's just selling the product. So you put women in front of shit in order to inspire other women to get behind the shit. But the person who's actually behind it was a man, and men are the reason why masculinity is the way it is now. And now, at the end of the day, and then even when you look, at the red pill stuff, is a little old white man that started this bullshit. So is a man that is behind all of this shit. And if you just look at the gay agenda, it's men pushing the gay agenda more than women pushing the gay agenda. Women just accept gay people because they act like women. It's men who push the shit. Gay men, Christmas and all these fucking holidays, these are pagan holidays, and it started with gay men doing gay shit. So we run around celebrating Christmas, but Christmas was a whole bunch of gay men fucking. So women aren't behind this. It's men that are behind this. And we love to blame women in order to take accountability from men doing these freaking things. Men are the reason why masculinity is dead. And women are just the figureheads of masculinity dying. If women had a man or the man had a woman, however you want to look at it, there's no real need for the woman to get welfare. So if you get Section 8, you get welfare, if you get food stamps, if you get a check every month, what my mom used to get, so I know what it was, why the fuck would a man be living in there, living off the goddamn government? The woman's job is to either choose the man to take care of her or men to take care of her, which is the government. So and she's not the government. Whoa, that's the thing. The government incentivized the goddamn woman to do the shit. But at the end of the day, who got the bitch pregnant? The man. It starts with the man.
The house for government assistance.
No, the man did not own the motherfucking house, because if he owned the house, he would not have been able to get kicked out of the shit. Think about that.
The woman is still incentivized to leave and get her own
house. Huh?
You can still leave and get her own house with government assistance.
Yes. But
I think it's very important to separate white men from black men too.
But the government is still men. So the thing about it is, like I said,
to separate white men and black men.
Can I finish? Women have no power. Women have zero power. Women are the children of our society.
Not true.
Women are used and utilized. Okay? Like, for example, if you have you said you have a woman and she turns around and wants you out of the house, she can't do shit to get you out of the house, but she can call a man to get you out of the house. So the man is what's going to take you out of the house. Police or whoever the fuck, or a lawyer or a judge. That's a man that's going to get you out of the house. So the bottom line is we have to figure out why these men hate men so much, whether it's red pill, whether it's white men, whether it's judges, whether it's the legislation. Why do they want to get rid of masculinity so bad? Women are just a pawn to this. And I'm not taking accountability from women, away from women. But what I am saying is women are children and they have no fucking power. So men running around getting mad at women all day is literally just jacking off in a corner because it makes no goddamn sense.
How can you say you're not taking accountability away from women and then in the next sentence say women are children and they have no power? We don't expect children to do anything. Children are children. The adults run society.
Okay, I'm not taking
full accountable for anything in society.
Okay,
adults
hold on.
are. So you're taking full accountability away from them as soon as you call them children.
Okay, let me change that because you're right. Women are not accountable, but the one thing that they have accountability is having babies. So if women did not have the ability to have babies, they would have no accountability. But because they have babies, they still have accountability. So I'm not taking full accountability from them because, like I said, we as community leaders, if we can push women to choose better men and not have random fatherless babies and require marriage, that would be them holding themselves more accountable and them being the part of making society better. But other than that, having babies, they don't have no fucking power. That's really their only power is having babies because they don't control shit. They don't control nothing. Women don't control any sector of the country, of the planet. Hold on, let me read this. Shout out to L. Nix. It takes two, no matter who starts it. All parties volunteer to cause destruction. It doesn't matter how you balance it on the scale of two sides. So trying to hold women accountable for something that they don't have control of is dysfunctional. And that's my point. Yes, I want to hold women accountable, but at the end of the day, they don't control nothing. So holding women accountable,
they control a lot.
They control their wombs. That's what I'm saying. So I in particular hold women accountable for what they do with their wombs. And I coach women. Women come to me. Women listen to me. I help women choose better men. So that one aspect is what they're accountable for. But the rest is men, because men are controlling all of these other aspects of oppression. Men
There's
are doing.
There's a lot that goes into choosing a man, to choosing a partner that they're accountable for. Their physical fitness, how they present themselves, their mind, their body, their spirit. They have control over that. All of the social narratives now that of the different movements that we see out here, they're in control of it. All of this whole thing with, oh, women's empowerment and Me Too and this movement, that movement,
all of that is
control of these movements. If the narrative is being spread by women that, oh, it's empowering for women to be promiscuous, they have control of whether they're promiscuous or not. And that's different than just their, having a child. But several things go into pursuing a mate that can either better our community or be detrimental to our community. And again, it's very important that we separate just men from Black men, because the same things that you're talking about has been set in place to systemically oppress Black men and Black women. So when we say men set this in place, it was white men who set things in place to destroy Black men and Black women, the Black nuclear family as a whole. So when we look at this, masculinity within the Black community is being destroyed the fastest by Black women, not Black men.
Okay. Thank you for pulling up, and you are a cool dude. You cool. And yeah, I think this was a pretty good conversation. And tell people where they can find you. And I'm coming out to New York because I was just talking to Rico yesterday? Either yesterday or definitely yesterday. So yeah,
you were talking to him Thursday, the day before yesterday.
Okay. Okay. How you know that?
I was there.
Oh, okay. So you was there. Okay, yeah. So shout out to you, and because I'm gonna come out and do a little podcast tour. I got about 3 people in New York. Do you have a podcast? Or do you just be a podcast?
Not yet. I'm going to start making it more formal, like with the setting and everything. But right now, I just do videos in this backdrop that I'm in right now in my home. Dr. Will James Reports on YouTube. But I'm going to start making it more professional and actually bring guests and stuff on to really have dialogues like we just had, to be more informative for the people.
Yeah, I got 2 people in Philly. Trev is one of them. I got 3 people in New York, including 8 at the table, and some. Yeah, so I got like 6 podcasts to go on to when I go out to New York. So yeah. So how often are you on there? You just happen to be on there then?
Yeah, no, I was just on there then. But I may be making like reoccurring appearances there, but I was just there then.
That's what's up. But yeah, man, you're a cool dude. And like I said, my apologies for saying whatever I said.
That's all I want. I want us all to get along. I want the whole Black community to get along, and I want Black brothers, Black sisters. That's the thing. Sometimes, even when I come on these podcasts and I make appearances, I'm all about just telling the truth. I'm willing to sit down with anyone who disagrees, and let's bring up the objective facts. Let's bring up the data, the facts, the statistics. Let's have a discussion that's informative and actually moves the needle and goes somewhere. So we can all work together. Working together is how we are going to do better and be better.
Right. And I totally agree with that. And to the people who have bought my card games, I appreciate y'all more than let's see. Yeah, we got a bunch of people that bought card games. So I appreciate y'all for contributing to the channel. This was a great conversation. And if y'all want me to have more of these debate type of conversations or whatever, y'all let me know. Y'all just send me a DM, and because at the end of the day, it's about what y'all want to see. Because I didn't think, because my people aren't used to me having debates with people or whatever. It'd just be me doing my thing or whatever. So I didn't think people was really gonna want to see this or whatever, because some of these debates be kind of boring or whatever. But yeah, I think this was dope. But yeah, y'all let me know if y'all want to see more of these, and I'll do them. But overall, it mainly just be me calling somebody crazy, or I hold women and men accountable, kind of like what Anton does or whatever. So yeah, certain types of content is mainly what the audience is looking for, versus, and then you throw something else out there, people are like, what the fuck is this? You feel me? So if y'all want to see more of this, I'll do more of this, but hey, we'll see. But yeah, thank you for pulling up, brother.
No problem. Thanks for having me.
All right, talk to y'all later. And before y'all go, if anybody has not bought a card game, here's a commercial.
We meet up at a coffee shop and play this fun dating card game. We'll have fun and see if we're compatible all at the same time.
Ooh, what's the name of the game?
It's called Deeper Discussions.
I'm down.
Okay, meet you at 6.
Fellas, buy this card game. Ladies, buy this card game. Buy about 2 or 3 card games. The main reason why people can't stay together isn't because they don't like each other no more. It's actually because their present family issues come up, or their past family issues come up. But when you play Deeper Discussions, you'll be able to understand a person's family issues up front.
This game can be played with either 2 people or an entire group. So have fun.
Question number 1. Name a time when money was the main factor why a relationship went bad.
Deeper Discussions Dating Edition. Again, these cards are good for vetting a potential boyfriend, a potential girlfriend, a potential husband, a potential wife. The texture of these cards are so soft and silky, by the way. Like
they ain't gonna get
really
wore out.
Durable.
A dating card game for introverts who have a hard time asking the much needed compatibility questions. Deeper Discussions, the card game.